I've been using DNA Funded for the past 35 days and now I'm ready to tell you my honest review. First, I'm gonna give you an overview of this proffer. Then I'm gonna show you what type of challenges they offer and what are the rules that you need to follow. And after that, I'm going to log in into an account to show you what type of assets you can trade and what are the spreads that you can expect to get. Also, if at any point during this video you would like to try DNA Funded, you can do so by clicking the first link in the video description. Using that link, you will automatically receive a 20% discount once you get a checkout. In fact, as you can see from this page, by just clicking the link in the video description, once I'm about to pay for my challenge, I'm gonna receive a 20% discount no matter the amount of my purchase. So, if you're serious about using DNA Funded, I suggest you use the link in the video description. And now, let's start with the review. So, I'm currently on the home page of DNA Funded, and a few of the characteristics that we can immediately see of this proffer are the fact that you are able to trade more than 800 assets, you have the opportunity to pick between 16 different challenge options, and you can have a maximum funding of $600,000. A few more characteristics that I really liked about DNA Funded are the state-of-the-art dashboard. In fact, once you log in into your account, you will see how everything is easy to understand and most importantly, user-friendly. The low latency and fast execution and these two factors are due to the fact that DNA Funded is backed by a broker. In fact, even if you purchase a challenge from DNA Funded, you are actually trading on DNA markets. And lastly, the support. In fact, if you ever need help with your account, you're just gonna need to send an email to the customer support, and usually in less than 24 hours, you're going to receive a reply. Lastly, before showing you what type of challenges DNA Funded offer, I would like to spend a bit of time talking about the community. In fact, as you can see, currently DNA Funded is a community on Discord, Instagram and X, but the one that I think really shine is the one on Discord. As you can see, I'm currently inside it, and what I like about this community is that currently there are less than 1,000 members. And to me this is crucial because this means that this community is big enough where you can have conversation daily with the various users, and if you ask a question, you won't have to wait a lot of time before somebody reply to you. But at the same time, there are not so many people that the community start to become chaotic that is actually hard to create any relationship with the other members. So the first time you join the server, you're gonna need to verify that you are a human, and after that you're gonna get access to all the channels that you see here on the left. If you want to have conversation with other traders, the channel that you need to use is the one called DNA Chat. In fact, as you can see, clicking on it here, you can have the day-to-day conversation with other traders. Personally, one of my favorite channels was the one related to payouts. In fact, if you go on this channel, as you can see, once or twice a week, all the payout certificates are posted on this channel, and this has two really important features. Number one, it serves as a motivation because you can see that other traders are being paid and other traders are succeeding, and this of course will motivate you to do better. And the second function is the fact that it shows you that DNA Funded is a reputable proffer and a proffer that pays trader. Lastly, another channel where you might have a really interesting conversation with other traders is the profit and loss. In fact, going in this channel, as you can see, traders usually post the trades that they took or the trades that they're thinking about taking, and here you can have conversation with them. You can also post your idea and you can receive feedback from the other users of the Discord. So now that I give you an overview of DNA Funded, let me show you what type of challenges they offer and what are the rules that you need to follow. So when it comes to challenges, as you can see, DNA Funded offer 3 different types of challenges: one phase, 2 phase and rapid. So when it comes to one phase challenges, you have a minimum trading days of 3 and there are no maximum days. So this means that you can take as much time as you want to complete the challenge. The profit target is set to 10%, while the maximum daily loss is 5% and the maximum total loss is 6%. It's important to note that both the maximum daily loss and the maximum total loss are static, so this means that they are not gonna move during the day based on your equity or balance. More specifically, as you can see here, they are based on the highest end of the day snapshot of an account balance or equity. The end of the day is based on this time, and here we can also see an example of how the 5% drawdown works with an account balance of $12,000. Lastly, for all the one-step account, the maximum trading leverage is going to be 1 to 30. Talking about two-step challenges, as you can see, they go from $5,000 till $200,000. Also in this case, the minimum trading days is 3 and you don't have a maximum amount of days to complete the challenge. In this case, the profit target for phase 1 is going to be 10%, while the profit target for phase 2 is going to be 5%. The maximum daily loss is 6% and the maximum total loss is 10%. Also in this case, both of these values are static. And in the case of two-step challenges, the maximum trading leverage is going to be 1 to 50, so it's going to be more than a one-step challenge. Lastly, we have the rapid account. I find really interesting this type of account because it basically positions itself between a one-step and an instant funding. In fact, as you can see, the minimum trading days is still free, but in this case the maximum trading days is 10, which is basically 2 weeks, because with this type of account you're not allowed to trade during the weekends. The profit target is 5%, which is basically half than a one-step challenge, and in this case the maximum daily loss is 4% while the maximum total loss is 5%. So these values are lower than a one-step account, and in this case the maximum trading leverage is 1 to 30. I would say that this type of account is probably more recommended for an experienced trader, for somebody that already know that it has a trading strategy that is proven to be profitable, and most importantly is proven to be profitable fast. So in this way they can take this challenge, get to the funded stage as fast as possible, and then start collecting profits. So now that I give you an overview of the type of challenge that they offer, let me show you more in details what are some of the rules that you need to respect while trading with DNA funded. So first of all, it's important to know that when it comes to evaluation accounts, you don't have any limitation to the type of strategies that you can use. In fact, you can use algorithmic trading, you can use expert advisor, you can use high frequency trading, latency arbitrage, new scalp. Basically, no matter the type of strategy, you are allowed to use it. But things change once you get to the funded stage. In fact, as you can see here, once you are funded, all of these strategies like high frequency trading, latency arbitrage, new scalping, reverse hedging, all these strategies are forbidden, not only for expert advisor or algo trading, but also for manual trading. I think that a few traders may not like this, but I think that is actually a positive, because this allows you to pass the evaluation phase as fast as possible, since all of these type of strategies are allowed, and then once you're funded, you can change your strategy, start trading manual, and slowly accumulate profit in that way. Then let's talk about profit targets. In fact, as you can see here, to request a payout, you don't need to meet any profit target. The only requirement is that at the end of the 14 days trading period, your balance is positive. It's important to know 14 days because that's the minimum amount of time that need to pass before you can request a payout. But if you want to decrease this amount of time, you can simply purchase an add-on and you can go from 14 days to 7 days. Another interesting feature about DNA Funded is the fact that for the first 3 payouts, your profit are capped at 5%. So let me give an example. Let's say that you have a $100,000 account, your first 3 payout cannot exceed $5,000, which is 5% of 100,000. But the good news is that after you manage to request your third payout, this limit is completely erased and you're gonna able to request a payout no matter the percentage of profit that you have generated. Personally, I don't think that this is a bad rules because it actually forces you to request a payout. That I know is something that a lot of traders don't do because they are almost addicted to see their account growing. But the truth is that until you don't withdraw those money, they are only numbers on a screen. Only once they are withdrawn and they are on your bank account or on your crypto wallet, they become real money that you can spend in the real world. So personally, I approve this rule because it actually forces you to withdraw profit and enjoy the fruits of your labors. Next, let's look at the rules related to news trading. As you can see here, you only have limitation when it comes to red folder news event, and more specifically, you cannot open or close trade 10 minutes before and 10 minutes after a red folder event. Finally, let's talk about withdrawing your profit. With DNA Funded, you can either use a bank transfer or cryptocurrency. Be aware that if you decide to use bank transfer, the name associated with your DNA Funded account need to be the same name associated with your bank account. Otherwise, the transfer won't go through. So, now that I give you an overview of DNA Funded, I show you what type of challenges they offer and what are the rules that you need to respect, let me log in into an account and let me show you what type of assets you can trade and what are the spreads that you can expect to get. So I'm currently inside a DNA Funded account, and as you can see, the trading platform that I'm using is TradeLocker. In fact, DNA Funded only support this trading platform. Now, if we look here on the right side of the screen, we can see a list of all the instruments that I can trade, and looking at the size of the scroll bar, you can already tell that there are a lot of different instruments that I can trade. More specifically, if I click here where it says all, I can see all the various categories of assets that I can trade. And personally, what impressed me the most about DNA Funded is the amount of stocks that you can trade. I will even go as far as saying that DNA Funded is probably one of the top 3 platforms when it comes to the amount of stocks that you can trade. In fact, let's look, for example, at these stocks on the New York Stock Exchange. As you can see here, the list is pretty long. Currently, they are blurred because the market is closed, so I cannot trade them. But if we scroll down, we can see that there are really a lot of different companies we can trade. And we are not only limited to the New York Stock Exchange, but let's say, for example, that we want to trade the stocks in Germany. We just need to click here. And as you can see, we can trade companies that are listed on the German Stock Exchange. But of course, stocks are not the only asset that you can trade. In fact, if we go back to our list, as you can see, we also have access to commodities, crypto, forex, and indices. So let's have a look at the forex major that we can trade. As you can see, they are all listed here, and the spreads that you can expect to get are really tight. Let's look, for example, at USD JPY. As you can see, you can expect to have a spread of 1. And if we zoom into the chart, we can see that the difference between the bid and the ask is really small, also considering that this is a 5-minute chart. If we scroll down, we can see also other pairs, like for example Euro USD. In this case, the spread is literally zero. We don't have any spreads applied to this pair. Not only that, if you decide to trade with DNA funded, also the commission are going to be really low. In fact, with this proffer, we are only going to pay $2.25 to open a trade and $2.25 to close a trade per every lot traded. You're basically going to pay $4.50 round trip per lot trader. That, when it comes to prop firm, are probably some of the lowest commission that you can expect to get. In fact, most prop firm, I would say they are more closer to $6, $7, or even $8 per lot trader. Lastly, let's have a look at the type of spread that we can expect to get if we traded gold, which of course is a really popular instrument to trade. So, as you can see, when it comes to gold, the spread is around 20, which of course is really good. Maybe it's a bit worse than the spread that we were having with the Forex Major, but I would say that is really good. In fact, as you can see, it's even below 20 on average. And again, the difference between the bid and the ask is really small. So, now that I give you an overview of DNA Funded, I show you what type of challenges they offer and what are the rules that you need to follow. I log in into an account and I show you the assets that you can trade and the spreads that you can expect to get. Let me tell you what, in my opinion, are all the pros and cons about this proffer. The first pro is definitely the fact that DNA Funded allow you to trade a lot of instruments. In fact, as we have seen, you are allowed to trade Forex Major, Forex Minor, commodities, indices, and a lot of stocks from different markets. The second pro of DNA Funded are the low spreads and low commission. As we have seen inside the Trade Locker account, for certain Forex pairs, the spread was equal to 0, and I will say that the average spreads when it comes to Forex Major was around 10, and the commissions are only $4.50 per lot round trip. That, as I told you, are probably some of the lowest in the prop firm space. The third pro, in my opinion, is the fact that there are no rules when it comes to the evaluation phase. In fact, as we've seen, you can use expert advisors, you can do algorithmic trading, you can use high frequency trading. Like, there are no limitation when it comes to the evaluation phase. And for me, this is a pro because having no restriction will allow you to get to the funded stage as fast as possible. Lastly, the fourth pro of DNA Funded is its Discord community, because in my opinion is the perfect size. In fact, it's not too big where you are not able to have a minimum conversation with somebody, but at the same time it's not so small that if you send a message, you're gonna need to wait hours before somebody replies to you. Additionally, I also appreciate the fact that there are a few channels where you can simply go there, post your trading ideas, and receive feedbacks from the other users. Now let's talk about the cons of DNA Funded. In my opinion, the only cons about this proffer is the fact that they only support Trade Locker as their trading platform. Don't get me wrong, Trade Locker is a really user-friendly and intuitive platform, and there are also a lot of other prop firms that offer it as an alternative. And here the keyword is alternative, because beside Trade Locker, they also allow you to trade, for example, on CTrader, Match Trader, DX Trader, Platform 4, Platform 5, so you're basically able to choose where you want to trade. Here, unfortunately, on DNA Funded, you are not able to choose, but you are forced to use the trading platform. So, if for whatever reason you don't like Trade Locker or you would like to use a different trading platform, I don't think that DNA Funded is a proffer for you. So, there you have it. This was my review of DNA Funded. As I told you at the beginning, if you also would like to try this proffer, you can do so by clicking the first link in the video description. After you click that link, once you arrive at the checkout page, a 20% discount is going to be automatically applied no matter the size of your challenge. So, if you're serious about trying DNA Funded, click that link and save some money on your next challenge. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like, and until next time, happy trades!